Hello, here we are in Chapter 7 in our Fundamentals of Medical Nutrition Therapy. Like I said in the announcement, Chapter 7 is probably our most intense. So I really want you to read through the chapter and watch the videos probably more than once. We're going to take the information that we've learned thus far and put it towards the assessment. So your book outlines the nutrition care process, and this is defined by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is our governing body. And what the hope of the nutrition care process is to provide a standardized process for clients. So once we get through the nutrition care process and some of the math, we'll look at more of the full assessment. All right, so a nutrition assessment is typically done by a registered dietitian, or in some cases, the dietetic technician. Prior to the nutrition assessment, though, a nutrition screening is done, and you'll see on your documents for this chapter that there's a nutrition risk screening form, which I will go through shortly. But I just wanted to point out that you need to look at that because that's what a dietary manager or a dietetic technician will be using to determine then which clients need a complete nutrition assessment. A nutrition diagnosis is just like a medical diagnosis. It's provided by a nutrition professional, and it utilizes standardized nutrition terms. So, for instance, each client or each patient will be given a nutrition diagnosis, and it would sound something like elevated BMI related to excess fat intake as evidenced by nutrition analysis showing fat intake 3 times standard. Okay. And then after we have that diagnosis, then we need to determine what intervention is going to be planned. So for that example that I just gave you with the high fat, we might look at some education, or we might look at some menu swaps that could decrease that person's fat. And then we're not just going to let them go with that information. We're going to circle around and make sure that we follow up with them and evaluate and determine if that's an appropriate intervention or not. So first, to do the nutrition assessment, we need to do the nutrition screening. Okay, not every client in all of your facilities is going to need a nutrition assessment. For example, if I came into your facility and I was having a baby, I wouldn't need a full nutrition assessment. I'm there. I'm a normally healthy person. I'm coming for a routine reason. So the nutrition screen then would be done to determine who needs the help of a nutrition professional. So the nutrition screening is typically done by the certified dietary manager, the diet tech, and it's based on indicators. So back to the example of myself in a maternity ward. If I had a specialized diet, let's say I needed a kosher diet and I was gluten-free, well, that would be a flag that would determine that I might need some intervention, or even just a visit from a nutrition professional to talk about the types of diet modifications I'll need when I'm at the facility. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that nutrition screen document here. And this is just a sample one that you might see at a standard facility. But indicators would be a weight change from usual. One of these high-risk diagnoses, and you'll see things that we've talked about here: dysphagia, GI disease, pressure ulcers, CHF, cancer, COPD. A complex diet order, like I just talked about, gluten-free, kosher, low-fiber diet. Okay. If they're on tube feedings, if they're on TPN, which is being fed through the vein. And then you can do this physical signs as well. Muscle wasting, weakness, oral lesions, psychosocial factors like limited funds to buy food, limited mobility. And then that will determine the nutrition risk intervention. Okay, so if no indicators are checked, they're at low risk. If one indicator is checked, they're at moderate risk, and if 2 or more indicators are checked, they're at high, and then they'll need to be seen by a nutritionist.